Hey guys, the Explorer of Horror here. Welcome back to some more reviews, and of course, welcome back to the Wes Craven movie reviewing marathon. I know I haven't been filming a whole lot of recent stuff, mainly because I've been super busy, and also because I had Vampire in Brooklyn and Curse to watch, which I had heard a lot of bad things about, so it took me a minute to actually get around to these movies. And the only Wes Craven movie I have to rewatch, or just watch in general, I haven't even seen it before, is My Soul to Take, which I'm hoping is as surprising as this and Cursed was, which we'll get into my thoughts on those movies here in a minute. But today's movie, we're discussing Vampire in Brooklyn, which came out in 1995, gets a 4.6 on IMDb, and of course, starring Eddie Murphy, but you also got Angela Bassett, Alan Payne, Zachas Mokai. I mean, you got a wonderful cast in this movie. And I had heard plenty of things about this movie, like the accident that had happened on the set, that somebody had passed away, one of the stunt doubles. I think it was, it may have been the lead chick stunt double. I can't remember, but, yeah, Angela Bassett's stunt double died in an accident on the set. So that's horrible. That's terrible. I had heard about that. Honestly, I didn't find out about that till not recent, but at least a couple of years ago. I had been watching this YouTube channel that covered cursed movies and stuff, and this had popped up on that. So that's terrible that happened. I'd also heard that this movie just as one of Wes Craven's worst. I had never heard really any good things about it. A lot of people say it's mediocre at best, and that at worst, it's one of Wes Craven's worst movies. And I will say this: does this movie have problems? Yes, it does have a lot of issues. But to get into, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I think it's a passable, fun, entertaining, decent flick. Nothing terrible, nothing amazing. It's a decent flick. And essentially what you have Eddie Murphy getting to play a vampire. Kinda Dracula-ish, but not Dracula. Which I'm surprised they didn't just go ahead and make him Dracula. His name is Max in the movie. Which I'm assuming is a nod to Max Schreck from Nosferatu. That's what I think anyways, but I'm surprised they didn't just go ahead and make him Dracula. It was kind of an obvious choice. I mean, they even tried to give him like a widow's peak thing, so. But he's this vampire, and he's looking for he's the last one, basically. He's the last vampire. And so he goes to Brooklyn, New York to look for the last person that he can turn into a vampire. There's only specific bloodlines that he can turn into vampires. He can't just turn anybody into vampires. So he targets Angela Bassett's character, Rita. He's going to turn her into a vampire. He's chosen her. And the movie is just him trying to flirt with her, trying to seduce her. Eventually, she does get bit by him, and she has to fight the urges of a vampire. Meanwhile, you have Alan Payne, who is her partner. She's a detective, and he's her partner, and he's trying to figure out how to save her. Zachas Mokai is sort of the Van Helsing of the movie in a way. And you got a lot of comedic stuff. You got a lot of scenes that I think aren't really that funny. I think the humor in this movie is more missed than it is hit. There's a couple of things I didn't mind here and there, but for the most part, I think the problem with this movie is tone inconsistency. I really wish this movie was 100% serious. Have levity, but it's definitely a horror comedy. Like, that's the thing I think that really hurts it is a horror film, but it's also a comedy. And the comedy parts I thought weren't always landing. Again, a couple things here and there I thought were pretty funny or entertaining. Other things I just didn't really think landed very well. And I think some of the best thing about this movie is, number one, I really enjoyed Angela Bassett as the lead character, Rita. I enjoyed Alan Payne. It was cool seeing Zachas Mokai in there. Eddie Murphy, I thought took it a lot more serious than I thought he would. I thought it was going to be definitely borderline parody. And there are some scenes where he's going for laughs. Don't get me wrong. There is comedic bits in this movie. However, there's a lot of times where he's trying to be serious. He's trying to be intimidating. He's trying to be as, serious as he can be as a vampire. And I dug that. That was cool. It was interesting seeing Eddie Murphy a bit more angry, a bit more dark, a bit more brutal in certain scenes. And then there are some scenes where he's playing up for laughs. Like the whole him turning into the preacher at the church thing, that was not funny at all. It was so lame. It was so cringe, and I could not wait for that scene to be over. The ending doesn't make sense at all. The ending where it's a cool idea where he gets this guy to work for him, sort of his Renfield, and he turns into a ghoul and he starts rotting away, and you have like gags like his arm falling off, and that was funny. It's my motherfucking arm, man. Or his eyeball falling out. At the end of the movie, the ghoul finds the ring, this ruby diamond type of ring that Eddie Murphy wears, puts it on, and it turns him into a vampire, which I get it. You got to have sequels, so we got to have some kind of way to make a Vampire in Brooklyn 2, which they ended up not making because I don't think this movie made a lot of money, and critically, I don't think it did well. I mean, obviously it did get to 4.6. There is a movie called Vampire in Venice, which I don't think is connected to this movie. Maybe it is. I don't know. The poster looks pretty similar. You got Tony Todd in that movie. Not Vampire in Venice. Did I say Vampire in Venice? That is not Tony Todd. That's Vampire in Vegas is Tony Todd. Vampire in Venice is that one guy, the crazy dude, the weird pedophile dude. I can't remember his name right now, but Vampire in Venice is the sequel to Nosferatu the Vampire. Klaus Kinski, I think, is Vampire in Venice. My apologies for that. Vampire in Vegas is Tony Todd. There we go. That's going to be one that's going to be pointed out in the comments. You got it wrong, man. I know. I'm sorry. It doesn't really say that Vampire in Vegas is connected. I don't think it is. Yeah, it's really not connected. Which is kind of weird because even the font looks the same. Like, I don't know. Vampire in Vegas does look like a cheap little sequel to this movie. It just seems like it. But that is not connected to this movie. For some reason, I thought it was. But, yeah, I think this movie is just, it's okay. It's decent. The bad things, you got some shoddy effects. The comedy really doesn't land all the time. Weirdly edited. Was this movie trimmed down? I kind of wonder if it was trimmed down. There's some scenes where the editing is very flashy and very snappy. Like, it cuts real fast. So I wonder if there was a lot of editing in this movie. So I don't think it really flows that naturally. The ending is kind of rushed. Like, it feels like the first act, the second act flow pretty decently. It's right when we get into the third act is where it starts getting cut. Okay, we got to get here, we got to get there, we got to hear this, got to hear that. It feels like it's very snappy paced. And I could just tell by watching it, the editing was just really either bad or just rushed. I couldn't tell. So that, I think, like I said, the main problem for me is a lot of the comedy didn't work. And I really do wish it was more of a horror film than a comedy. I think it does a fair job at balancing it, but like I said, when the jokes just don't land and you're just kind of like, Like, I thought more jokes landed in this movie than they did in Vampire in Brooklyn. Maybe because you had Kevin Williamson right in this movie. I don't know, but this one's a lot more funnier than this. And this is much more of a horror. See, this tone got it right. This tone, it's a horror film with a bit of comedy in there. Just a dash. Just a little pinch. That's all you need. Here, tries to be serious one scene, next scene's a comedy bit, and the fucking preacher scene felt like it was out of another Eddie Murphy movie or something. It felt like it couldn't have been, like, it just didn't fit here. It shouldn't have been here. Don't know why it was here. There's a couple of other scenes I thought were pretty lame. To this fucking Italian guy. And of course, Eddie Murphy is in makeup playing these people. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This Italian dude who won't shut up, who like gets told to shut up like 8 times in the movie. I don't know, man. That stuff I didn't really like. However, I think Eddie Murphy does a good job. I think the rest of the cast does a good job. It was cool in this movie seeing, an all-black cast. That was awesome. The whole movie is an all-black cast. That's great. You got a lot of good performances here. You got a great soundtrack to this movie. Some good music. I think Wes Craven does an amazing job directing this movie. It looks pretty good. This is definitely one of his more higher budgeted movies. You can tell he has a bit more money to play with here. There's a lot of locations, a lot of good set design. The Brooklyn atmosphere. See, Scream 6 could have done this using the New York atmosphere. I mean, movies did it in the 70s, man. With the budget, man, Taxi Driver, freaking Driller Killer used New York better than Screams. Don't give me the budget. The fuck do you mean budget? You got green screens. You got blue screens. Use them. In this movie, they had a pretty high budget, and they used the locations well. A lot of great shots of alleyways and the fog, misty streets of New York, and a lot of night shooting. I think it looks great. Very, very good looking movie. So I think for the most part, it's a pretty solid, pretty entertaining flick. I think Eddie Murphy, once again, is pretty good. Angela Bassett, I really liked her as the lead. I think it's a solid movie. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. There are problems there. There are things that, like I said, could be tweaked, could be fixed, could be worked on. But yeah, I think it nails most of what it's going for. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fairly good. But anyways, y'all, 3 out of 5 for me. That's going to be my review on Vampire in Brooklyn. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. And if you guys have seen this movie, comment down below your guys' thoughts on it. If you haven't, check it out. Also, if you want to follow me on social media, I'll be leaving all those links in the description box below. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for all your support on the Wes Craven movie reviewing marathon. And we're going to be continuing on with this series of videos. I actually ended up filming a lot of the Scream stuff, and I'm going to film Cursed, so I do have a lot of content coming up here soon. But anyways, y'all, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for dealing with my nose. My nose is so leaky in this video. Do cocaine, man. Yeah. No, that's for another stream. Nah, I'm joking. No. That's a Saturday stream, guys. That's the Sunday streams, all right? That's where your boy's going to be on the next level. But I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Anyways, y'all, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and Explorer 4 is out. Peace.